You've been set up. Every time you raise your voice, defend your point, or try to win an argument with a woman, you're walking straight into a trap. And not just any trap. One that drains your energy, shatters your composure, and quietly erodes the respect she once had for you. Think about it. Have you ever truly won an emotional argument? Or did you just end up exhausted, misunderstood, and somehow smaller? Here's the uncomfortable truth most men won't admit. Arguing isn't strength. It's surrender. Surrender to chaos, surrender to ego, and worst of all, surrender to someone else's emotional weather. But over 2,000 years ago, the Stoics cracked the code. They didn't fight fire with fire. They didn't plead, explain, or justify. Instead, they wielded something far more powerful, unshakable inner stillness. And in that stillness, they held all the power. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about mastering yourself so completely that no outburst, no guilt trip, no emotional storm can knock you off your center. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the 9 timeless Stoic strategies that replace arguing with quiet authority, the kind that doesn't just preserve your peace. It commands respect without saying a word. If you've ever felt drained after a discussion that turned into a battlefield, if you've walked away wondering why logic never seems to work, this is your turning point. Smash that subscribe button right now, because what comes next could redefine every relationship in your life. And stay until the very end. The last strategy alone has saved marriages, restored dignity, and changed men's lives forever. Let's begin. Number 1. Stay calm. Your silence disrupts her chaos. Most men think silence means weakness, that if they don't speak up, defend themselves, or set the record straight, they'll be seen as passive, or worse, spineless. But here's what they miss. Silence isn't empty, it's loaded. When a woman is emotionally charged, frustrated, hurt, or trying to provoke you, her nervous system is in overdrive. She's not looking for logic. She's broadcasting intensity, hoping you'll match it, so she doesn't feel alone in the storm. And the moment you react, you validate the chaos. You become part of the drama instead of the anchor. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Not for fame, but for self-mastery. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the key. Strength isn't shouting louder. It's refusing to let someone else's emotional state hijack your inner world. Imagine this. She raises her voice, throws accusations, twists your words, and you breathe. Look her in the eye. Say nothing. Not out of fear, but from unshakable calm. That silence? It's like dropping a stone in a raging river. The water keeps thrashing, but the stone remains unmoved. And slowly, almost unconsciously, she begins to mirror your stillness. This isn't manipulation. It's leadership, emotional leadership. And it flips the entire dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one who looks unstable. You're the steady ground she either returns to or walks away from. And that's exactly how respect is rebuilt. So next time tension rises, don't rush to fill the air with words. Let the space breathe. Let your presence speak louder than your defense ever could. Tell us in the comments. When was the last time your silence changed the entire energy of a conversation? Number 2. Listen fully, but speak only when necessary. Here's a brutal truth most men ignore. Listening isn't passive, it's strategic. When a woman is upset, she rarely wants you to fix the problem. She wants to feel heard, not analyzed, not corrected, not interrupted with, "Well, actually," but truly felt. Yet most guys jump in too soon. They hear the first sentence, assume they know where it's going, and start crafting their rebuttal before she's even finished. That's not listening. That's waiting to talk. And it signals one thing. You care more about being right than understanding her. The Stoics practiced something radical, deep, disciplined attention. Epictetus, born a slave but revered as a philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." That's not just wisdom, it's tactical advantage. When you listen fully, eyes soft, posture open, no defensive crossing of arms, you disarm tension before it escalates. You create space where emotion can settle instead of spiral. And in that space, something powerful happens. She begins to self-correct. Because once someone feels genuinely heard, their need to escalate vanishes. The drama loses its fuel. But, and this is critical, you don't have to respond to everything. Not every feeling needs validation. Not every accusation deserves an answer. Speak only when your words serve clarity, not ego. Say less, but mean more. For example, instead of arguing, "That's not what I meant," try, "I hear you're hurt. Help me understand what landed wrong." That single shift turns combat into collaboration. This isn't submission, it's sovereignty. You're choosing conscious response over reactive noise. And over time, she'll stop testing you because she knows you won't be baited. Number 3, don't try to win, stay grounded in truth. Let's be brutally honest. If you're trying to win an argument with a woman, you've already lost. Why? Because emotional conflicts aren't debates. They're not scored by logic or facts. They're driven by feelings. And when feelings are involved, winning just means someone else has to lose. And that person is usually you, even if you prove your point. The Stoics rejected the very idea of winning arguments. For them, truth wasn't a weapon. It was a compass. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm mistaken, I'll gladly change. But until then, I act according to what I understand to be right." Notice what he doesn't say. "I'll destroy their argument. I'll make them admit I'm right." No, he stays anchored in his own integrity, regardless of whether the other person agrees. That's your power move. When she says, "You never listen," your instinct might be to list every time you did, but that's playing her game on her terms. Instead, stay grounded. "I always want to understand you. If I missed something, I'm here now." You're not defending, you're not counterattacking. You're simply holding your center, like a tree in a storm. The wind howls, but the roots hold firm. This disarms the entire conflict structure. Because when you stop fighting for victory, the battlefield disappears. There's no us versus them, just two people navigating misunderstanding. And over time, she stops seeing you as an opponent and starts seeing you as a safe harbor. Remember, truth doesn't need to shout. It only needs to stand. So ask yourself, not how do I win, but what is true for me, regardless of her reaction. That's where real strength lives. Comment below. When did you last choose truth over being right? And what changed because of it? Number 4, use few words, but speak them with clarity. In the heat of tension, most men either say too much or nothing at all. Both are mistakes. Saying too much gives emotional ammunition, rambling explanations, justifications, and "but I was only trying to" lines hand her more material to twist, dissect, or weaponize later. Silence, on the other hand, when used without intention, can feel like withdrawal or passive aggression. The Stoic middle path? Speak rarely, but when you do, speak with surgical precision. Marcus Aurelius didn't waste words. Neither did Seneca. They knew that clarity cuts through noise, and in emotional conflict, clarity is calmness made audible. So instead of saying, "I didn't mean it like that," you're overreacting. And honestly, you do the same thing all the time, which is defensive, accusatory, and chaotic. You say, "I care about us. Let's talk when we're both calm." That's it. 7 words. No blame, no justification, just truth, wrapped in respect. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clean. Clean communication leaves no room for misinterpretation. It doesn't invite escalation. It sets a tone. We operate from dignity, not drama. And here's the hidden power. The fewer words you use, the more weight each one carries. When you don't flood the zone with noise, your voice becomes rare, and therefore, valuable. Women notice this. Not consciously, maybe, but deep down, they register the difference between a man who spills his thoughts like loose change and one who places each word like a stone in a temple wall. So before you speak in conflict, ask, does this need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Does it need to be said right now? If the answer isn't yes to all 3, stay silent. Number 5, set boundaries. Respect begins where weakness ends. Here's the uncomfortable reality most men avoid. You cannot earn respect by being endlessly accommodating. If you constantly bend, apologize for things that aren't yours to carry, or stay in conversations that spiral into blame and shame, you're not being nice. You're signaling that your peace has no value, and over time, she'll treat it like it doesn't. The Stoics weren't pushovers. Far from it. They were fiercely principled, and they understood that boundaries aren't walls. They're declarations of self-respect. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And mastery begins with knowing your limits and enforcing them calmly, consistently, without apology. So when she raises her voice, calls you names, or drags up past mistakes just to wound you, that's not a conversation. That's emotional trespassing. And you have every right to say, "I won't talk when we're speaking this way. Let's pause and come back when we can both be kind." Notice what this does. It doesn't attack her. It protects you. And in doing so, it raises the standard for how you'll be treated. This isn't punishment. It's clarity. And women, especially emotionally intelligent ones, respond to clarity. They may test it at first, out of habit or fear, but deep down, they relieve when a man holds his ground with calm strength. Because chaos feels safe only when there's no alternative. But give her a man who's steady, firm, and kind, and she'll rise to meet that energy. Boundaries also prevent resentment. Every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace, you build invisible debt. And one day, it explodes. But when you set limits early and gently, you preserve both your integrity and the relationship. So ask yourself, where have I been tolerating disrespect because I feared conflict more than I valued myself? Then act, not with anger, but with quiet resolve. Tell in the comments, what's one boundary you've set that changed everything in your relationship? Number 6, detach emotionally. Control is power. Let's cut through the noise. Emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. When a woman is swept up in emotion, anger, sadness, frustration, she's not operating from logic. She's reacting from a place of perceived threat, unmet need, or past pain. And if you get pulled into that emotional current with her, you both drown in reactivity. The Stoics called this apatheia, not apathy, but freedom from destructive passions. It means feeling your emotions without being ruled by them. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, plague, and yet wrote calmly in his journal, "You are not disturbed by things, but by your opinion about them." That's the core. Your peace isn't destroyed by what she says. It's disturbed by your belief that you must fix it, defend against it, or control it. Detachment means stepping back and observing, this is her emotion. It belongs to her. I don't have to carry it. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to stay centered so you can respond wisely, not react wildly. Think of it like this. If someone throws mud at you, do you throw mud back? Or do you stand clean, let it fall, and say, I'm not playing that game? When you detach emotionally, you stop taking everything personally. You stop seeing her outburst as an attack on your worth and start seeing it as a signal of her inner state. That shift alone removes 90% of the tension. And paradoxically, the more detached you become, the more influence you gain. Because now you're not a participant in the drama. You're the calm presence that either draws her back to sanity or reveals that she prefers chaos over connection. That's not cruel. It's honest. So next time emotions flare, breathe. Anchor yourself in your values, not her volatility. Ask, what would the wisest version of me do right now? Then do that. Let us know in the comments. When did detaching emotionally feel like losing control, but actually gave you all of it back? Number 7. If she's emotional, don't match it, lead it. This is where most men fail spectacularly. When a woman is emotional, crying, yelling, spiraling, they instinctively do one of two things. Either match her intensity, shouting back, defending, escalating, or shut down completely, stonewalling, walking away without explanation. Both responses abandon leadership. The Stoics didn't react. They guided. Epictetus, who endured slavery and exile, taught that true strength isn't in controlling others, but in steadying the room when it's falling apart. That's your role. Not to fix her emotion, but to hold a different frequency so she can find her way back. Think of it like this. If someone is lost in a storm, you don't jump into the wind with them. You stand on solid ground, light a lantern, and say, I'm here when you're ready. So when she's overwhelmed, don't say calm down, which invalidates. Don't argue facts, which ignores feeling. Instead, say something like, I see this really matters to you. I'm not going anywhere. Let's figure this out together, when we're both clear. That single sentence does 3 things. 1, validates her experience. This matters. 2, reassures safety. I'm not going anywhere. 3, sets a standard when we're both clear. You're not rejecting her emotion. You're refusing to let it steer the ship. And over time, she learns something profound. Her emotions don't control you, which means she doesn't have to fear them or weaponize them. She can be human without losing you. That's how trust deepens. Not through perfect harmony, but through consistent calm in the face of chaos. This isn't about being stoic as in stone-faced. It's about being steadfast, a harbor, not a mirror. Because the moment you stop mirroring her storm, you become the lighthouse. Number 8, walk away. When needed, your peace is the priority. Let's be crystal clear. Walking away isn't running. It's choosing yourself. Most men confuse walking away with cowardice, like they're giving up or letting her win. But the Stoics saw it differently. They knew that staying in a toxic exchange doesn't prove strength. It proves poor judgment. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And if the enemy is chaos, reactivity, or emotional manipulation, then the highest act of self-respect is to remove yourself from it. Walking away isn't silent treatment. It's not punishment. It's a clean, conscious boundary. I will not participate in this energy. I'm stepping out, not to hurt you, but to honor my peace. And here's what most miss. Your willingness to walk away actually increases your value. Why? Because it shows you have standards. You're not desperate for resolution at any cost. You understand that some fires aren't meant to be fought. They're meant to burn out on their own. But, and this is critical, you must walk away with dignity, not drama. No slamming doors, no sarcastic remarks, just calm removal. I care about us, but this isn't working right now. I'll check in later. Then leave. This does two powerful things. One, it stops the cycle of escalation cold. Two, it forces her to sit with her own emotions without you as a punching bag. And often, that solitude is where real reflection begins. Don't fear that she'll think less of you. The right woman, the one worthy of your energy, will respect your self-control more than your stubbornness. Remember, peace isn't passive, it's protected. And sometimes, protection looks like turning your back on noise so you can face your truth. Comment below. When did walking away from a fight, a conversation, or even a relationship actually bring you closer to peace? Number 9. Let your actions speak. Consistency earns more than words. Here's the final, most powerful Stoic truth. Who you are in silence matters more than what you say in conflict. Words can be forgotten, twisted, or dismissed. But your actions, they echo. Day after day, they build a story about who you really are, not who you claim to be when emotions run high. The Stoics lived this. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write about virtue. He ruled an empire with mercy during plague and war. Seneca didn't just preach calm. He practiced it while navigating Nero's court. Their power came not from speeches, but from unbroken alignment between belief and behavior. So instead of saying, "I'm a good partner," show it by staying calm when provoked. Instead of arguing, "I've changed," prove it by never raising your voice even when tested. Instead of promising, "I'll always respect you," demonstrate it by walking away from toxicity without bitterness. This is how you rebuild trust. Not with grand declarations, but with quiet consistency. Women notice this deeply, even if they don't say it. When your actions align with integrity over weeks, months, years, something shifts. She stops looking for hidden agendas. She stops bracing for explosions. She begins to relax into your presence, because your stability becomes predictable, reliable, safe. And that safety? It's more attractive than charm, more powerful than persuasion, more enduring than passion. Because in a world of reactive men, the one who lives his values without fanfare is magnetic. So ask yourself, if she never heard another word from me, would my actions still speak of honor, calm, and strength? If not, adjust your life, not your arguments. Let your daily choices become your legacy. Let your composure be your message. Let your peace be your power. Let's bring this home. You now hold 9 ancient, battle-tested Stoic strategies, not to control a woman, but to master yourself in the face of emotional chaos. And that mastery, it's the ultimate form of power. Because here's what the world won't tell you. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't crumble under pressure or beg for validation. Real strength is quiet, consistent, and unshakable, like bedrock beneath a storm. Every time you choose calm over reaction, silence over defense, boundaries over people-pleasing, you're not losing the argument. You're transcending it. You're stepping out of the arena entirely and standing on higher ground. And from that place, something remarkable happens. Respect returns. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. The Stoics didn't avoid conflict because they were weak. They avoided needless conflict because they were wise. They knew that true victory isn't making someone else submit. It's preserving your integrity, no matter what. So the next time tension rises, don't ask, "How do I win?" Ask, "Who do I want to be in this moment?" Be the man who listens without collapsing. Be the man who speaks rarely, but with truth. Be the man whose peace cannot be rented out to someone else's drama. That's not just stoicism. That's leadership. That's love with backbone. That's the kind of presence that doesn't just save relationships. It elevates them. If this resonated, smash that like button. It tells YouTube this message matters. Subscribe if you're serious about building unshakable inner strength. And comment below, which of these 9 strategies hit you hardest and why? Because your answer might be the exact insight someone else needs to hear today. Remember, arguing feeds ego, composure builds legacy. Choose wisely.